Welcome back, everybody, and I hope the break has been short, but you all have been able to grab some bite. And since it's virtual, I think that's the benefit we can sit with our plates. The next presentation is from Tata Power, Mr. Parshuram Mishra, Group Head Technology from Tata Power Trombay Thermal Power Station. Mr. Mishra will share his expertise on the potential role of RCM applications for power plant maintenance. Before he starts with his presentation and I give him access to share screen, a few words about him. Welcome, Mr. Mishra. He has 21 years of experience in supercritical units. He's experienced in project execution, erection, installation, testing, commissioning, and operation of large-size power plants. He also has handled over 60 cost-saving projects across the assets of Tata Power. He implemented adored field monitoring and reliability-centered maintenance for Tata Power and has successfully completed 51 weeks consultancy service for implementation of asset management system RCM, covering 3 thermal stations and 16 hydro stations for one of the state power utilities. Ladies and gentlemen, please take note, this and the following session will also be moderated by Mr. Chandrasekhar, who has already joined us. And Mr. Mishra, you will have in total 25 minutes for your presentation, and we will take 5 minutes for Mr. Chandrasekhar and any questions that come along. Over to you from here. You could put your video on, and I'm just giving you the access to share your screen.
Sure.
We can see your screen. You could go to the slideshow.
Yeah. Can you please confirm whether you can?
Yes, I can see the screen and even you are visible and there's absolute clarity. So maybe you can continue this way. In case the network is unstable, you could get your video off, but else I suggest we continue this way. Thank you.
Based on my past experience, actually, yeah. So, yeah. So, shall I start my presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, first of all, very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this session on RCM applications for power plant O&M. And thank you very much, the entire team, for giving an opportunity to speak on the experience that I have had in last couple of years, particularly on this RCM journey. And I'm really grateful to have my moderator, Mr. Chandrasekhar. He was my ex-colleague, and I'm really happy to see him in this session as my moderator. So thank you so much, Chandrasekhar sir, and the entire team.
You are welcome. Carry on, sir.
Thank you, sir. So this is my brief profile. So already Madam has already told about this brief profile. So with some degree in mechanical, then PGDC, NPTI, MBA in finance, then some certification in the power sector, some certification in the industrial psychology and all, and some experience related to power sector. So I'm not going in details. So this is small overview of Tata Power as a whole. So Tata Power, as you know, this is 100+ years old company, and most of the sessions, like most of the things related to, like, for first 150 megawatt thermal unit, first 500 megawatt, first 830 megawatt, a lot of accolades are there with the name of Tata Power. And this is the new era at Tata Power, where actually with 37% of total generation from clean and green energy, we are also in microgrid, then EV charging, then some we are also working for 4 gigawatt cell manufacturing, cell and module cell manufacturing at one of the location, and first hydro station at 1915. So this is a small overview of Tata Power. Now coming back to the subject, reliability and maintainability. So this particularly, this is a vast subject. However, I will try, as this is a post-lunch session, and a lot of already stuff has already been given to the audience. So I will try my level best to complete the session within 30 minutes and hope everything will be given a weightage related to the RCM part. So this is the journey, actually, how at Tata Power we have transformed the entire O&M vertical in thermal, hydro, transmission, distribution, and how we have completed the entire journey, that I am going to explain you in next couple of minutes. So as you know, particularly in generation, transmission, distribution, everywhere we have implemented this RCM, and various failure history, various maintenance strategy, the data analytics part, everything we have implemented across the fleet. So this is some of the key words that you can see in the screen, that is FMEA, codification, classification, failure history, maintenance strategy. We'll talk something about each and every point. Yeah, when we are talking about RCM as a whole, then the goal is to make the operation and maintenance digital, right? So what we mean by digital, there is like data and analytics driven should be there in the theme of the organization, so that the existing system can be integrated with the overall plant maintenance, and the operational data and the maintenance data can be used in a holistic manner, so that the analysis of asset failure, and we can predict some of the asset strategy. So that is the main theme where actually the RCM comes into picture. So if you will see as a whole, these are the 4 or 5 bullet point where actually RCM sits over the data analytical platform. For example, suppose you are having SAP platform, then some bolt-on tool should be there over and above the SAP tool, and the SAP, whatever data you are getting from the SAP or some other related function that is there in the organization, the tool should sit over and above it, and it should give the reflective action related to maintenance strategy, related to the action item that you want to take in your maintenance, so that it will give certain amount of cost benefit and certain amount of overall availability and reliability, so that the entire reliability journey of your organization will improve in due course of time. So the first point is about the codification and classification. Whatever assets are there, you want to standardize in a hierarchy setup, and the consistency should be there across the assets. The holistically critically acclaimed, like for example, maybe some equipments may be criticality level A or B or C. That category has to be done under this classification exercise and codification exercise. Then the next part is coming about the FMEA. In next slide, we will also discuss some details about the FMEA. However, for the present scenario or for the present moment, we can understand that some level of cross-functional analysis, some level of root cause assessment, and the identification of action item should be there on the subject of FMEA. FMEA is nothing but failure mode and effect analysis. Once you will prepare the FMEA, then clear prioritization of your action items should be there, so that the failure history at a right level, the classification and the codification, whatever you have done in the asset, for each and every asset, the component level study and the related component level study should also give about the various root causes, say root cause level 1, root cause level 2, root cause level 3, or and finally the action point should be emerged from your FMEA. And finally, the maintenance strategy has to be done, whether you want PM or CM or CPM, or you want to have a task list optimization. That part has to be given out from the maintenance strategy part. Once again, once you will do the codification, classification, FMEA, maintenance strategy, everything, the most important enablers are the management support, and last but not the least is about the data quality. Whatever data you are going to put, that data should give the accurate, comprehensive, objective, and the failure about the various analysis. Then only the right kind of approach can be driven. Now, to implement and adopt the initiative of such a large scale, it is very important to finalize the end state objective and conceptualize the end-to-end process flow. Right. So for this, actually, we should understand the started objective of RCM program, actually to analyze the data of asset failures and thus formulate the maintenance strategy with some level of holistic approach, and also to minimize the failure rates, optimize maintenance cost, and increase asset life and the upliftment of the data, that has to do certain level of analysis, so that the analysis related to the manufacturing, related to the damage, related to the breakdown, related to the cost, related to some preventive maintenance compliance has to be there in the key process. The information collected is automatically should be analyzed to determine a range of probability for the likelihood of failure over a series of time ranges, right? And the data that also be used to determine the best plan for preventing or delaying the failure based on patterns of information from similar assets running under similar circumstances, correlated with prior prevention strategy and their outcome. Now, with the RCM approach, the first and the most important part that we used to do is about the top 10 equipment with highest breakdown cost with MTTR. MTTR is nothing but mean time to repair. The PM compliance, the top 10 equipment by most breakdown, say particularly in a particular year, what are the various breakdown, the top 10 equipment, if you can select, then immediately certain action can be taken out and the cost analysis part can also be done. Now, during the implementation journey at Tata Power, actually we have divided into 4 parts, that is diagnostic, RCM design, implementation, stabilization and sustained value realization. Under this, actually we have divided the entire process into 2 parts, that is phase 1 and phase B, or phase A or phase B. Phase B has taken around 18 to 22 months, whereas in phase A under diagnostic. Yes sir.
345 around तुम अमरसन जी को और अतुल और राहुल जो भी है और श्रवण को तो बोला ही है.
Hello.
Mr. Panda, request you to go on mute, please.
अभी सामने से भी दिखेगा प्लांट टीम है, ठीक है.
Mr. Sanjeev Panda, we are able to hear you. Request you to go on mute, please.
Yeah, actually I thought some question was coming. Yeah. So notably, Tata Power becomes the first utility in the power sector in India to implement such an initiative. The initial roadmap was developed under the guidance of Tata Power senior management. And initially we have started with the pilot project, and after that, once we have got some experience, then we have implemented the entire RCM program in the GTD fleet. And these are some of the notes you can see, like the volume of work, like 1500 plus people were involved, 20,000 plus man hours were spent across 8 sites. Then almost 1,000 plus people were trained. Then 200 plus workshops were conducted. Some 30 plus boot camps were there. Then we have also implemented 30 plus community of interest. Community of interest means, say, for example, one equipment, say BFP, boiler feed pump. So maybe you are having some 8 sites, and in every 8 sites, say different type of power plant is there, say 250 megawatt, 500 megawatt, 830 megawatt. Then each and every site having one expert of boiler feed pump. Then each and every expert from boiler feed pump will join together and they will share one community of interest. Similarly, we are having 30 plus community of interest. As and when required, suppose any process mapping you want to do, or any system analysis you want to do, or any failure was there, the root cause analysis you want to do, then that team will come into picture and they will do the needful, particularly to resolve the issue. And some of the codification and classification, we have done some 1.5 lakhs plus equipment we have taken, and we have done the codification and classification. So these are some of the typical failure patterns. Like with this type of failure pattern, we have enriched our system, and we have tried to put this type of analysis in the system, that is the Bolton tool, which is sitting over and above the SAP. So this is typically the failure mode and effect analysis part. So whenever we are telling about the failure mode and effect analysis, so we need to understand certain terminology. For example, if we will start with the basic, what do you mean by maintenance? So maintenance is nothing but ensuring that physical assets continue to do what their user want them to do. Now, whenever we are talking about the maintenance, then certain basic questions are coming, 7 basic questions. That is, what are the functions and associated performance standard of the asset in its present operating context? The second question will be, in what ways does it fail to fulfill its function? What causes each functional failure? What happens when each failure occurs? In what ways does such failure matter? What can be done to predict or prevent each failure? What should be done if a suitable proactive task can't be found? So these are the basic 7 questions that has to be answered during the FMEA exercise. And the potential action item that is coming out from the FMEA should be the condition monitoring, the preventive maintenance, the operational modification, the design changes. Then whenever we are talking about the FMEA part, we should also think about the various failure consequences. For example, the hidden failure consequences, the safety and environmental consequences, the operational consequences, the non-operational type of consequences. So with this, actually we should taken out some level of exercise so that the functional failure can be identified, because they occur when an asset is unfulfilled when an asset is unable to fulfill a function to a standard of the performance which is acceptable to the user. Now, with this FMEA, actually the severity rating, the occurrence rating, and the detection rating can be visualized. So with the FMEA action item, basically this FMEA, whatever FMEA we used to do, that FMEA is sitting in the system itself, and the system itself will take the Weibull analysis, various stochastic analysis, various statistical analysis, and it will tell us what should be the risk priority number, and based on the risk priority number, what action has to be taken. So this is typically a PF curve, where actually the functional performance and the operating hours or age or life is there. So one point is like initiation of deviation, that is P. Another point is failure point F. So whenever there is a failure, you can see the graph moving in one direction. So with a certain digitalization tool, you can find out the early deviation before the failure point F. F is the actual point where the equipment or the asset will surely fail, and the P point is nothing but the initiation of deviation. So if with certain amount of tool, if you can early detect, or the anomaly detection will be there, then the preventive action can be taken. If you can see in the particular graph that there is the actual value, there is a DCS alarm, there is a DCS trip value, and there is a deviation. So with the software, you can visualize and you can find out the actual point where the equipment is start to fail. With this, the restoration can be done, and action point can be taken so that it can enhance the asset life. So during implementation of RCM, some of the challenges are unavoidable. So certain action has to be taken so that the challenges can be mitigated in due course of time. First one is there is no clear objective. If the objective is not clear and the responsibility matrix is not clear, then definitely there will be some problem for implementation of the RCM. Then there should not be any communication gap. In some area, we have seen that there is a gap in between middle management, senior management, the executive who are actually doing the job. Then also the problem will be there. And last but not the least is about the improper integration and gap in alignment. So we have also faced this type of challenges. During initial phase, we have done a lot of exercise related to data readiness, data management, analytical framework, and lastly, a lot of training sessions we have arranged. Some 30 plus bootcamp, 200 plus training session we have arranged, and based on this, actually we have overcome various challenges, and we have successfully implemented the RCM. So this is like through RCM what can be achieved. typical maintenance exercise used to tell about the reactive approach, but with the reliability center maintenance, the approach is somewhat proactive, where actually the dynamic root cause analysis will be there, FME will be there, system analysis will be there. Then the overall process is better and the dynamic, and the failure and the better asset performance can be and the prevention of failures and better asset performance can be achieved. And basically the typical maintenance will be OEM based, OEM guided. Say some equipment, suppose OEM is telling that after 5 years you have to do maintenance, then you have to follow the OEM guideline. But what RCM is telling, it is nothing but an analytical approach with the statistical approach. You will define how many number of failures are there, and from the failure pattern we need to find out the solution, and the optimization of various assets can be done. Similarly, some other positive aspects are there for RCM. That is like use of historical data for analytics and prediction. Then real-time data plus analytics will be there. Then last but not the least is about the concept of digitalization related to RCM. That is, it is a IT-driven maintenance strategy, and quicker decision making can be done with the RCM approach. So once suppose your organization will start thinking about doing the RCM, then this is the step where somebody can approach, because with this approach we have seen that in last 4 to 5 years we have seen that if we are going in this approach, then a lot of benefit are getting. We are getting a lot of benefit. In fact, during our journey at one of the state utility, where we have implemented RCM for 3 thermal station and 16 hydro station, we have also taken the same approach. Like we have started with immersion training for core team, then codification, then classification, then various logbook data for event history. That exercise we have done. Then maintenance task list we have find out. Then along with all the team member, we have done a lot of boot camp, and we have also done the failure mode and effect analysis. Last but not the least is about the asset strategy preparation and root cause analysis. So one thing you should be clear that root cause analysis is digging out the past part, but RCM is looking towards the front. You should see your action should be there, so that in future no failure will be there and the reliability of the entire asset will improve. But in case of root cause, you are looking at the past. So this differentiation has to be there in the approach. So these are some of the dashboard that we are using at plant. Then this is like a plant head will check his dashboard, then instrument department, mechanical maintenance department, electrical maintenance department, MPD, they will use their own dashboard, and with this the analytics will be there.
Mr. Prasad, request you to please put yourself on mute.
Yeah, thank you. So these are the KPI trapping that we are doing under the metrics and scorecard. So one is like breakdown count of critical equipment, ratio of PM to total maintenance, monthly basis we used to do, and these are some of the numbers or some of the KPI that we are using. And this is the criticality level pattern, where actually we used to have monthly breakdown pattern, and accordingly we used to take the action. Some of the examples in the table, like initially how the existing PM frequency was 3 months, then with the interventions of RCM, the PM frequency we have increased 1 year. Then the saving will be there. 45 number of PM per year saving was there. Then in one of our plant, we have reduced PM cycle by 31%. So if we will calculate the number of man hours, then the equipment of the duration of outage, everything if we will calculate, then monetary benefit in terms of INR in crore will also be there. So these are some of the certifications that we have received based on whatever activities we have done in RCM. So that we have presented to Singapore Quality Association, and we have got the best best paper award in financial year 21-22, and the same was also published in SQI yearbook, Singapore Quality Institute yearbook. Also, it has been published. So if somebody is interested, then they can go to their website. It is already available in details. Of time, actually, I'm not able to cover each and everything, but if somebody is interested, then they can go to this website and where actually details are available. Thank you. So hope within the given time, actually, I have completed my presentation.
Mr. Mishra, I request you to put your video on, and Mr. Chandrasekhar, if any questions from your end, and also to the attendees, if any questions for Mr. Mishra, please key them into the Q&A or chat box.
Thank you for being on time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
sorry,
so,
I was a little bit fast, but I need to as
I understand this is quite an extensive subject, my favorite subject too, because just to add to what Parshuram has been telling, that this entire journey of RCM was started by Ashok Sethi and myself, and around 2015-16 we started this journey, and Mr. Parshuram will agree that we still have a long journey to go.
Yes, sir.
It's still not in a maturity level. It is for all the other attendees who are not RCM complied. I would request that if they can get in touch with Mr. Parshuram for a future guidance of how to carry on and how to go about it. I'm sure he will be able to help you in terms of some basic knowledge which they can go ahead with this. This is beyond the normal predictive and preventive maintenance, because this is absolutely another world. Every extensive exercise, plenty of efforts, lot of management supports, and the employees all have to be aligned together before you can say, yes, we are into it now. So that's what I have no questions to ask to Mr. Parshuram, because I'm myself a part of it, was a part of it. And I would only wish Parshuram that the units around Tata Power succeed in what they are intending to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And I can also, to the audience also, I can tell that during initial phase, we have also having a lot of interaction with you and your team. So it was nice to see you during this session, sir.
Mr. Mishra, we have a question for you from the attendee, NNTPP. Is it possible to implement RCM in the existing SAP?
Yeah. So already during my presentation also, I have told that in Tata Power also we are having SAP system, and over and above SAP system, we have also utilized one bolt-on tool that is with some vendor. We have put to this particular software, the bolt-on tool. So the details also, if the team wants to have detailed session, that also we are okay with that also. Right now, we are not doing the consultancy services, but initially we have also done some consultancy services related to RCM also. We have given consultancy services to one of the state utilities where 15 hydro station and 3 thermal stations we have used. More than say 500 plus people we have trained in a 51 weeks time. So immediately that SAP or any other stuff will be there. This can be sit with that. Even without SAP also, you can implement RCM. This is nothing but a concept for Wyndham transformation. With Excel also, somebody can start. If somebody don't want to invest too much amount of money and they want to implement RCM, then also it's fine to implement RCM over and above Excel. It's fine. And in fact, another point is also that suppose other than power plant also, that initially it was started with aeroplane industry. Then in India, we have implemented RCM in power industry. Even in oil and gas, in other sector also, people are trying to implement this RCM. In some cases, they have already implemented. So it's fine.
Incidentally, Chennai airport was the first to implement.
Yeah. So
absolutely new system which has to be accepted across all the industries, and many people get confused it with Six Sigma.
Yeah,
Six
yes.
Sigma is almost following the same principle, but this is setting certainly, you know, more on a process-driven type of thing.
So in Tata Power, actually, two persons like myself and another of my colleague is there, K. Rohit. So both of us are working rigorously with this topic, sir. You may be knowing. So just one second, sir. I will take the opportunity to introduce Mr. K. Rohit with you, sir. Both of us, we used to go over there.
Hello,
and
sir.
we used to
Hi,
meet.
Rohit. Good to see
Hello,
you.
sir. Actually, I am connected with you in
I know that.
LinkedIn also.
Good to see both of you.
Yes,
Carry on.
thank you.
All the
Thank you, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Definitely, we are seeing some perks of doing a virtual event.
Yeah. At least I have got the award. In front of Mr. Chandrasekhar is really good.
Yes, absolutely agree on that. And okay, but with this, thank you so much, Ms. Mishra. Indeed, intriguing presentation and a very good session.